Hello, this is Kim Brown from the Overseas Guides Company. I hope you are very well this week. Last week I did a video about how to find an independent lawyer. And in order to get over my fears of doing video, I'm going to do another easy topic. This week I'm going to talk about how to research areas to buy in. Until I get more comfortable with doing video, I think I'm going to stick on the easy topics. I've got some notes here just to remind me of what I'm going to talk about. I think that when you watch a video, you think, oh, that's easy to do, but when you actually go to do it yourself, it's quite frightening. Anyway, this week is about researching areas. There's a lot of people that go overseas and they spend a week or two looking in particular areas. They have a holiday, they think it might be a nice place to stay. Of course, when you're on holiday, everything's really good. The sun is warm, the drinks are cheap, everything's fantastic. But if you're seriously thinking about buying an overseas property, it's really, really important to research the area. And what I mean by that is to look at things like noise levels, proximity to interesting places, the terrain, temperature throughout the year, and just look at the neighborhood, what's going on in the neighborhood, what kind of people are in the neighborhood. So if I start first with noise levels, what do I mean about noise levels? The important thing to realize is that sometimes you can buy in an area that seems quiet and peaceful, and then you move in and at 2 o'clock in the morning some club starts up, or you realize that it's over a flight path, or as I've found in some countries, you'll be sleeping very comfortably and then 3 o'clock in the morning there's boy racers that go by with their cars. So it's important to try and to stay in an area and to really experience life in that area. If you can rent before you buy, I suggest everybody does that. Rent for 6 months. If you can, rent for a year before you buy. It's amazing what you find out when you actually stay in a place for longer than a week or two. So noise levels is important. Like I said, boy racers. There's also, if you're going to buy on the coast, sometimes people have moved into areas where there's a fishing village and it looks beautiful, but fishermen get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and their boats are quite loud. So unless you actually try before you buy, you wouldn't know that. The other thing is proximity to places of interest. Do you plan on walking? Do you plan on driving around? Do you like to go to pubs? Do you want restaurants? Do you like to drink? If you do, you want to find a place where you can walk. It's important to realize what kind of lifestyle you want to live and keep that as a very important consideration. If you buy a property that's 10 miles away from anything, it can be a bit lonely, I suppose. It all depends on what you want, but that's something to think about. The other thing is terrain. What I mean by that is I've had quite a few readers that have been a bit older, and they've purchased properties that are on a hill, and they didn't really realize how difficult it would be for simple things like parking the car and taking the groceries up to the house, or taking the dog for a walk. At first it probably seems beautiful to be on a hill, but if you can't manage to walk extremely well or get tired quite easily, it can be quite difficult. And I've actually had people tell me that they've left a property because they couldn't handle bringing their groceries in. So it's important things to think about, and that's what I try to do with the information that I write, and hopefully these videos, is to give you some things to think about that you might not otherwise consider. Other thing is temperature. There's one country in particular that always it cracks me up, because people think that like Cyprus is a really, really hot country, and it is. It's extremely hot. But in the winter, it's the coldest place I've ever been. A lot of people don't get heat, thinking that it never gets that cold, but boy, if it gets freezing. So temperature is a real important thing. Like I said, if you can rent for 12 months and see all the seasons, see how hot it gets and how cold it gets, it's such a very good experience, because it will help you to determine whether or not it is the right place for you to buy. The last thing that I mentioned was neighborhood. As far as neighborhoods go, again, if you can rent before you buy, you'll see there might be a bunch of Americans on your street, and you might not care for Americans, or there could be a certain group of people that maybe you don't get along with, or you don't believe in their cultural values, and that can cause a problem. If you're retiring or finding a holiday home, you want to have fun, and you want to be in a neighborhood where people respect each other, and maybe even listen to similar kinds of music, or whatever the case may be. Like I said, if you can rent before you buy, it just can help out in so many different ways. It's important that you consider these things, because you're going to spend maybe the rest of your life and live out your overseas dream. So it's so important to make sure that things are perfect, and if not perfect, they're close to perfect. Anyway, I'm sure this is probably way too long, so I will sign off for this week, and hopefully next week I'll get better at doing these videos. Until then, have a fantastic week. Take care. Bye.